Good. That was
Nice,
a wealth
Lee. Ah,
of
so great.
Yeah, thank you.
Powerful
information there, Lee.
things. Way fun.
Yeah, Lee, where are you located?
We came little over a year ago to Cary, North Carolina, just right near Raleigh. Yeah. We were in Louisville, Kentucky for pretty much all of our adult life. And my parents live in Cary, and my brother lives just down the road and his family. And so during COVID, we were like, we need to reorient our kids. Theoretically, our kids are out of the house. They keep coming back thanks to COVID. But, we decided that it was time for us I was born in North Carolina. My wife was born in North Carolina. So it's kind of coming home.
Yeah, come
Wow,
on.
you did come home. And even then, I moved from Seattle to Salt Lake about 20 years ago. It was hard.
Oh.
And I know it's going to be hard, but it's tough to start over as an
my
adult.
wife and I said it was our surprise that this has been the single hardest thing to do as a couple, other than my wife's parents died and my wife had a serious illness. Those three things aside, this has been the toughest year because, we were in Louisville for 34 years.
Wow.
Right. Your
From the
base
time we got
was
married.
there.
Yeah. Our whole base,
Yes.
our kids grew up there. So we started from scratch, but except for we had some built-in family stuff. So.
Yeah.
That does help, but my heart goes out to you.
Yeah.
It makes you question, like, oh, did we do the right thing? And clearly you did. But
We asked that a few times.
Yeah.
yeah, the adjustment is harder than I ever thought. To start over in a spiritual realm, get a new doctor, dentist.
Oh my
social
gracious, that is awful.
group. Where's the grocery store? Where do you get the best prices?
Yeah.
Oh, bless you, Lee, and your wife.
Yes.
I
Very,
would
very
say
cool.
my wife and I made a move from Jacksonville, Florida to Logan, Utah, and that's been like the best thing for us is just the shedding of everything and starting fresh. And but I can understand it could be a very challenging thing too. But this was something we were really looking forward to. I really liked your, I wish more people would talk about this, how difficult the first years of marriage are. And how many, some people just get blindsided by it. I was like, what? Why is this so difficult? Like, it was great. And then boom, it's all of a sudden this, and I feel like you're stepping in each other's junk, you don't know what's going on. And the fact that we were so committed though, I am so thankful for, because that really helped us get through the early time. And I really like you talking about that. Is there any other advice you have about the first years of marriage and kind of, I guess, erasing that moonlight and roses idea that Hollywood sells us?
It is what we've been sold. And the reality of what people say, kind of in the open, especially in this world of Instagram, where they're going to show off their great moments. And you're sitting there going, my moments aren't so great. And you're talking about stepping in each other's stuff. Another way of saying that is we're trying to figure out how we're combining our lives together. And so the reality of that, how do we combine our lives together? Just to accept that's what it is. There are ways we can make that more difficult, but there are only so many ways you can make it easier. It's just the process that has to happen. And I think one of the big things that is helpful, people think that when I talk about the first thing I have to say is it doesn't mean you go into this mind meld where you lose your own identity and you just, this. You bringing your best self to that and saying, so the analogy I use many times is about if you're playing on a team, right? If you watch on a team, you can bring your best self to it. In fact, I hope every player does on that team, but they have a common goal. They're trying to win the game. They're not trying to take it out on their teammates. That never works real well. And so it's a matter of bringing your best self to the game to win it together. And so, if that's the goal, it makes it easier to say, I'm not losing myself. We're creating this other entity. And if I keep bringing my best self to that entity can function better. A lot of times the relationships that struggle are the ones where they just go, we're just two separate people. And now we have this marriage thing. The other one is where one goes, you've got to join me, or the other goes, I'm joining you, instead of how are we bringing this together and sharing this. Our task is to win. We're winning at this life, and taking care of each other and moving forward. It doesn't matter who scores the goal. An assist is as important as a score. And so how do we get that? So a lot of times I hear it comes down to things like, my spouse doesn't initiate sex enough. I'm like, are you having sex? Why are you complaining of who started it?
As long as one of you starts. That's right.
As long as it starts, who cares? And keeping score and things like that is where I can see where people are still struggling to say, this is the team. It's not who throws the ball or who shoots. It's the fact that the goal is to score and to score enough to win.
Yeah, I was very much you're going to join me kind of thing. And I had a lot to learn when we got married. I remember a big moment for me was I was working. We were living in Florida, and I came home and something happened at work. I can't even remember now what it was, but I was upset about it. And I remember my wife being, "Oh, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "Rrr," and went in our room. And I'll never forget it. I sat there and thought, I don't even know what's wrong, and no one's ever asked me that. And I didn't know how to. I just didn't know how to reply. But it also felt like I didn't know it at the time. But there was an ego there blocking that. Doesn't want to let you know that I'm hurting or bothered. And then the other thing was just I thought, why doesn't this person always know what's in my head? Don't they just know what I'm thinking or what I'm talking about? And I had to learn to express that. And a big thing with that too is like sometimes I'd be like, oh, you know what I was expecting was this. And if I just say it, it's easier for me to let the expectation go.
Yeah. Expectations are deadly to relationships.
Yeah.
Expectations? You said expectations?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was unrealistic, setting the bar way too high, and then we just set ourselves up for failure.
Well, and so Dave, I'll go a step further and just say expectations, period. Even if they're not unrealistic, if I'm expecting, I've already created something in my head. And so one of the things that I've talked about a good bit is to give up on expectations and work on agreement. If you haven't had an agreement about something, the expectation, that's on you. You're the one who's made the mistake and the expectation, but higher expectations for sure are harder, but I just say expectations, period. And Rex, one of the things I've kind of realized is, if we can play in that game of the spouse should just know what I'm thinking, I don't really want anybody to know everything I'm thinking. I just don't think that's helpful.
That's good. Yeah, I've never heard that. That's good.
Yeah. The expectations.
Well said.
Was a huge thing for me. And the way I figured that out is it's so odd, but I'm a huge fan of movies and stories. And I learned years and decades ago, like, don't see as little as the trailer as possible. So you go in with no expectations. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, gosh, I'm so much happier when I don't have expectations. Maybe this translates to other things in life.
It could.
And it was partially that, and it's just reading and different things like that. But I am comforted in knowing that that's not just a me issue. that's a big
human
problem
issue.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Lee, I tried to buy Beyond the Three Barriers. Is that still for sale on Amazon?
It should be.
Something happened. Okay. Maybe, could be, you can't take me to the bank on that, but I want to get that one on hurting, helpless, hopeless. Sounds so good. Sounds so good. Lee, it's been a treat.
It's been fun.
Thank you. We want to respect your time. We're at the top of the hour, Lee, so we so appreciate you. Thanks for joining us today. Hey, do us a favor and take a few minutes to subscribe to our podcast and the Utah Marriage Commission YouTube channel, where you can watch this and every episode of the show. When you hit the like button and leave a comment, your feedback helps us improve the show. And don't forget to share this episode with a friend. You can also follow and connect with us on Instagram at Stronger Marriage Life and on Facebook at Stronger Marriage. Be sure to share with us what topics you want us to explore or what you loved about today's episode. If you want even more resources to improve your relationship connection, visit our website at strongermarriage.org, where you'll find free workshops, webinars, relationship surveys, and more. Each episode of Stronger Marriage Connection is hosted and sponsored by the Utah Marriage Commission at Utah State University. And finally, a big thanks to our producers Rex Polanis and Alexis Alcott and the team at Utah State University. And you, our audience. You make this show possible. The opinions, findings, conclusions, and recommendations expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the Utah Marriage Commission